Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session. We're talking with Luke Faccini today, and it's super exciting because he's got some great stuff to share with us about culture and impact and communication and why it's so important to growing and scaling your social enterprise, which I'm very excited to hear about. We are going to be going into a recorded session. This session will be recorded for members who can't join us today. So please bear with us as we deal with tech issues and all sorts of things. But our lovely members will be able to join us afterwards if they can't make it today. I'm going to start sharing my screen. And I'm hoping you can all see that now. But if you're here for something else and you've arrived and gone, oh my gosh, this is not the right session. Oh, sorry, but we're talking about culture and impact, the essentials for growing social enterprises today. So I'm really hoping that you're in the right room and we can get on with the show. First of all, here at QSEC, what we love to do is to have an acknowledgement of traditional owners. We're on the Yagara and Turrbal country this morning. And feel free to put it up in your name if you want to recognise the people of the lands that you're on today. We love this process because it's not just words to us. Indigenous businesses have been working on social enterprise, the theories and the principles of that, and First Nations country peoples across the globe have been working on this for centuries. And we're very, very grateful to be working together with social enterprises and Indigenous businesses on this land. As we negotiate space together, we work out what's a reciprocal relationships that we can have and how do we help support one another in this space. So we're very excited about the work that is to be done and will be being done for the last little while with Indigenous businesses, but there's so much more potential. So we're very excited to be working with a lot of our Indigenous businesses in the QSEC community. In fact, there's about 10% of our businesses are Indigenous owned, which is kind of outstanding when you think about business as usual has about 1%. So social enterprises and Indigenous businesses are really lifting the bar for everyone on the planet. So we are a member organisation. If you haven't joined QSEC, why not? We've got lots of our members here today with us as well. So welcome to them. And just a little reminder, we've got lots of things on offer for businesses and for social enterprises. So not only do we have the directory listing, but we work really hard with government to try and have a voice for social enterprises. We have a free certification model at the moment with social traders for the first year. If you're a QSEC member, that's about $500, $600 worth of value. We also have business insurance partnership with Aviso Broking. We also have HR support with community management solutions. So if you're after any of those things, we can put you in touch with those people. And we also do networking across the state and a fabulous online training centre, which you will be able to access as a member. And this little video will be captured and popped on there as well. So make sure that you check out that. There's so much that QSEC has to offer. And we're turning 10 this year. So if you've got a story of social enterprise that you'd like to share, we invite you to put your story up in the history pin. And this is a place where everybody can put their little contribution, because we know it's not just one person who's made a difference, or two or three or four. There's been a movement of people who've helped this social enterprise sector grow over the last 10 years and before that time as well. So if you've got a story, please share that. You can scan that, we can send it out. Members will already have these links. But yes, please add your voice to the social enterprise movement. And we have an awesome 10th birthday party coming up on the 12th of May. Put it in your diaries. And if you want to register now, because tickets are selling like hotcakes. And you will want to get a seat at this table. I guarantee you are going to have an absolute ball. So that's all for me from the moment. And I'm going to introduce you to my dear friend and absolute legend in this space. Oh, here we go. I'm going to stop sharing. Luke Faccini. Round of applause. Woohoo. Take it away from me, Luke.
All right. Thank you. I'd also want to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which I have the privilege to work and play, which are the people of the Turrbal Nation. You go out terrible nations. I pay my respects to elders past and present. I know there is so much wisdom in the community, and it doesn't surprise me that many of them are social enterprises because that's the nature of the business. So lots to learn there, and especially some of the stuff we're talking about today, it goes without saying they get this right, and there's lots for us to learn. Now, I've got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to try and jam in as much as quick as I can, because I'm respectful of time. We could talk about lots of different things. These are some of my favorite things to talk about. I have the pleasure and the privilege of running Sponge. We're a branding agency in Brisbane. We're a B Corp, and we're very active in the good business community. Some of you might know me from Good North. We are a branding agency, which means that we do things like rebrand, right? We also do refreshes. We also rename, and not all just things. We create new brands, and we do all of the good, awesome design and strategy that comes after that. So we are a branding agency. But this might sound weird coming from a branding agency. Good design is table stakes today. It is the price you pay to play. That's everything from how you look, your identity, to how you operate your systems. What is not table stakes is meaning, and that's magnetic when you get it right. That's what we're going to talk about today, because what we expect of brands has changed for good. So there's three main shifts those icons represent. One is it's no longer just generalization, it's real connection, relationship that we want with the brands that we choose to support, whether working for or buying. We're looking for meaningful roles where we can connect and contribute, not just merely a paycheck. Right? And we want to work for and stand for a cause, not just products or services alone. Now, this is preaching to the choir a little bit because you're all social enterprises, but sometimes we get this wrong in some of the way we communicate it. Now, it used to be that the market was content with a great product or service alone. That's not the case anymore, and I'm going to share why. Let's say you do have an awesome product, awesome price, awesome marketing, and awesome customer service with awesome culture, because you do, right? You've done the work. Now competitor enters the scene. They have comparatively awesomeness across all of those offerings, and they match you on all, if not all of those, but they also have a very clear and inspiring purpose and impact that gives their brand greater meaning in the market. And it's at no extra cost for the customers. And it's something that the market loves. It's something that your customers love too, and your team. So that's really the question now, is awesome enough? Now, you might have all those things right, but you're not communicating them effectively. So you can be bumped by this person, this brand that is actually doing it quite well. And that's the challenge too, especially for social enterprises, because today more than ever, people want brands to be ethical, sustainable, and stand up for something. And access to information means consideration is really easy today. There's a new level of transparency. So if you are this positive impact competitor in your space and you're not communicating well, you're missing out on that opportunity. And the reality of it is 9 out of 10 top employees today are willing to trade a percentage of their lifetime earnings for greater meaning at work. That's great news if you're fighting the battle for talent today, the war on talent. Now, back in 1999, I was a brown cowboy, a hired gun, and Sponge helped businesses build their brands and sell more of whatever it was that they were selling without really thinking about the damage that they were responsible for. And we're good at what we do. So we've caused a bit of damage. And that was how it was until one Saturday morning, summer of 2015. I was sitting in my villa by the bay in Concord in Sydney. I hit play on a documentary that looked watchable. I was looking for a bit of decompression. And to this point in my life, I'd never actually considered the true cost of things. And this documentary was called The True Cost. And it was about to change everything for me. It revealed all the senseless deaths and destruction. Remember the Dhaka building collapse 10 years ago now, right? Over 1,200 people dead, 2,500 people injured. And for what? Right? And not to mention the devastation of the ecosystems that fast fashion caused, all caused by ignorance and greed, right? Short-term profits at all costs. This was the first time I'd seen supply chain revealed for what it was. And it's not only in fast fashion. So I was sitting there in tears. Before that film was done, I was done. Now I could no longer work for businesses that were about profit at all cost. I made up my mind. I was only going to work for angels at the time. I was very polarized. And that's what I call my purpose moment. It led to me firing most of our clients, imploding the business, and restarting. This time purpose-led, right, and values-driven. So since then, I've been on a quest to find authenticity in purpose and impact, because I'm in marketing. I know you can say whatever you want, right? So what does that mean, right? So we've purposed and we've repurposed. This is our latest purpose, to help all brands be good for the world. What that means to us is we want to help 1 million people live their lives to the fullest. How do we do that? It's by helping 10,000 brands become electromagnetic, and those brands helping 100 people, an average of 100 people, live their lives to the fullest, whether it's by creating a culture that enables that individual to flourish, to be their best self, or if it's by virtue of creating an impact that helps 100 people, or the balance of that 100 people have a fulfilling life. So, and this is regardless of whether these brands can afford our help, which is part of our impact model. We'll get to that in a little bit. Now, we did implode the business, but we started growing again. And I started banging my head against this same old problem. Bad hires cost so much. And it's because culture is done the common way, right? If you Google what the cost of a bad hire is, average, they say it's 30% of the first year earnings. But have you ever stopped to calculate it yourself? We did it, and I was floored. Right? So this is one role, and we've made many bad hires in the 22 years I've been in business. 120K salary role, rushed the position because we needed to fill it, even though it was kind of, there's a bit of wishful thinking and whether this person was a fit. So let's look at what it breaks down. Recruitment costs, 19 grand, including the external consultant, our time interviewing, all of that good stuff. Then we have 3 months trial wage because we were hoping this person would work out. So it's tacking up there, 49 grand. This person was struggling, so it took a lot of our management time. So we calculate that 15% of the management salary for that period, right? So it's really adding up here. And then productivity drop for the team. The 3 people that person was working with had to pick up the slack for that person. So it's $73,000 loss. This doesn't even count team-wide morale decrease, because what you accept becomes your standard, right? Lost opportunity costs because everyone was picking up the slack, and client relationship impact because of the poor service. This is one of many 20, like what I've made over the 21 years. It's very front heavy, so we don't do that anymore because we've got it right. I don't want to think about how much overall we've wasted. Now, you might say, oh, I don't have a 120K salary role in my company, but even at a 60K salary role, it's still over half of that. So you're losing more than 30K. Now, when I talk about common way of culture, like I'm a book junkie, I'm on a constant quest to learn. So I'm talking about the likes of Simon Sinek's Start With Why, which was great at the time, but times change. I'm really impressed with his Infinite Game book, by the way. If you haven't read that, read it. It's great. It talks about noble purpose rather than, that was what I was missing. Culture where you're professing a purpose that's like, we want to be the best in the world, right? Or some kind of artisan thing. No meaning in that. It's braggadocious, right? So now I mark points in books with flags when they resonate. And about this time, a book dropped for me, and it's this one. The Values-Driven Organization by Richard Barrett. Look at the flags on this. I don't have any book that has resonated for me so much. So the tools and methodology in this took what I was attempting to achieve to another level. So I reached out to this organization, spent several thousands of dollars and lots of time to learn the methods and tools, and certify as a values transformation consultant. So in the process, I really discovered what culture transformation really takes. So if you're wondering, well, how's a branding guy talking about culture? Well, I know how powerful it is, and I know that, and we use the tools. So there's 3 things that a culture transformation needs. Clear context for everything. We'll get to that in a minute. Breathing life into it, and sustained attention. So getting clear on those things was what inspired our culture framework. And that's to help businesses get clear on who they are as a brand. So In 2015, part of what I was needing to decompress about was a major client that I lost, and it was over something well-intended, and it didn't make sense to me until this happened. So we moved, and first thing you want to do is find a cafe that's like got good coffee, right? So found a cafe around the corner and walked in and ordered my favorite beverage. Moments later, with a smile, barista gives me the drink. It's exactly what I ordered, tasted delicious. How do I feel? Great, ready for the day, and I've solved my coffee problem. So next day, back at the cafe again, order the same drink, and with a smile, barista gives me the order. It's exactly what I asked for, tastes delicious, only this time there's a special little cookie on it. How do you reckon I felt? Awesome, right? Who doesn't love something extra? Next day when my order comes, big smile from the barista, there's no cookie. I have to say, I'm disappointed. Where's this cookie, right? I didn't order it, but like I'm expecting it. Poor barista didn't do anything wrong, but now I'm not as happy as I was. Have you ever had an experience like that? Yeah. Okay. What if the barista had handed me the drink with the cookie bonus, but at that time she'd said, this is a special cookie for today only because it's been baked by my auntie or mum or some kind of whatever, something special. Enjoy it. Of course, I wouldn't have felt disappointed because there was a clear context to the cookie, right? That made me think about this. Having understood that, we would have a shared context of the cookie, and I wouldn't have felt any disappointment. And context is everything. It taught me that, same with culture, right? In our culture code, it's not about what the culture means to me as the boss, or what it means interpreted by my team. What it means is, what does it mean here in this culture, in our team? So we developed our framework so that we could get very clear on our cookies, right? Very clear on our cookies. So there's no misunderstanding. And we find that this happens a lot. So this became step one of our culture framework, which is articulate, all about refining the culture code with shared context. Next thing we did was work out how we could ritualize our culture code in our business to breathe life into what we'd created. Because if it's not breathed in, if there's no life breathed into it, it dies in the drawer. And this became step two of our culture framework, Unite, where we embrace the entire team on the ongoing journey of culture. And honestly, with culture, it's the journey that's the destination. You can't just come down like Moses with the tablets and go, here's the culture code. Never works. And it was then I learned the missing piece of the culture puzzle from the legendary authors, Chip and Dan Heath, in their book, The Power of Moments. I learned that it's vital to create the messaging to address issues before they happen, right? That way we can lovingly call each other out. And that's from the top down, but also from the bottom up. And that has to be ritualized and rehearsed. With this practice in place, we can build a culture that's strong and self-correcting. And we're able to protect it fiercely, which led to putting our culture first in all the steps of our recruitment, team reviews, so that we ensured only superstars in our team. And that meant the final step in our framework is protect, which includes hiring and firing for fit. And we're really diligent in that. Now, after doing that, I was introduced to B Corp. Very polarized at the time. I found B Corp. It is a rigorous third-party accreditation that spans those areas there. And going through the certification showed me what a full, authentic business model is, what you need to consider. So we achieved certification. If we had more time, I'll tell you that it was out of spite and the story behind it, but I won't. So I recommend that everyone in business do the free B impact assessment, regardless of whether you're going to certify, because you will learn so much. We certified, and we've since recertified, and we're in the second recertification right now. So 9 months after the certification, I found my tribe. We went to a B Corp Leadership Development Day. Everybody there, there was 200 people, everybody there that I bumped into was using their business as a force for good. Now, I hadn't actually met social enterprises, so I know it's similar. And I've met so many since then are doing the similar thing. But I was so inspired. All these profitable businesses doing something incredible. And yeah, I committed that I was going to get to know everyone. That's why I'm involved with Good North and why I'm passionate about B Corp. Since then, I've met with hundreds of these legends to learn about their business, and in the process, discovering the many different ways there are to create positive impact through business. And that fueled our framework, our impact framework, to help businesses identify and communicate their noble reason to be loved. Honestly, I feel like part of my role, my purpose, is to give business owners permission to be good humans at work. Right? So that conversation, inspiring people with business cases to be a good business person. That's where our impact, our passion for impact was originated and what drives us. Now there's, I used to have another story for this one, but recently, anyone watch NPR on YouTube? No, okay. So it's pretty good. Check it out. There's some interesting music on there. They get guests into the studio to perform. I watched one of Bono and the Edge performing, and like they started cranking out Beautiful Day. It's like, this song is so old. Like so old. I'm saying it's so old. I Googled it, like I wanted to find out. But back from 2000, so over 20 years old, they're performing it with the same gusto, same effort that they did back then, same words, right? And it's awesome. Yes, they've mastered different elements of it, and they brought in like a choir to add accents and everything, but it's the same words, same song, same melody, performed awesomely. Now, these rock stars have been performing this song for over 20 years, and it's the same words. What do we do in business? Most people I know in business feel like they have to have something new to say all the time, right? In actual fact, you do not. You just need to master your songs and have a handful of songs. This led to our discovery when I heard it the first time, is the power of storytelling is getting very clear on your core stories. So we've developed 5 story types that a brand can use to make sure that their culture and impact ripples outwards and has life breathed into it. They need to be told by your team, and told beautifully, the same words, so that everyone is singing along to your beautiful day, right? We can all sing it or know most of it because it's catchy and they've like nailed it. So what is the catchy song that we need to nail for our business or songs? Storytelling. I'd love to spend more time on storytelling, but today we're talking about culture and impact, right? I was pushed to facilitate a workshop in Sydney, usually a 2-day thing where we do culture on one day, impact on the other. Had to do it in 5 hours, and it was awesome. Because when we intertwine culture and impact in the same session, it engaged the team members on a much deeper level and fast, which in turn created a significantly deeper sense of authenticity and ownership in the direction for the brand, which created massive buy-in for them, their team, and ultimately from their clients. So since then, our formula looks like this: culture plus impact multiplied by storytelling, and that equals electromagnetic brand, right? That's the formula. But since then, I had an epiphany that doesn't explain it well enough. This does. Your culture and your impact are your how and your why, fused as the nucleus of your brand, right? When you fuse them as the nucleus, the storytelling can ripple outward from all directions and all your touch points and collateral. This is what it takes to be an electromagnetic brand today. This is the prize that I'm here to help you get, right? And this is how you can see how important, vital culture and impact are to your brand. People do not buy what you sell, they buy how and why you do it, right? So let's talk about culture, which is who you are as a brand. And this is your ability to cultivate a company culture that delivers consistent, exceptional experiences that all your audience rave about. I had a meeting with a new client. I tend to do it a lot. First thing I say is, we're going to be scheduling a session to review your purpose and values. The response was a common one: we don't need to do that. We did it years ago. So my next question is, cool, tell me what your purpose is. There's a bit of a stutter there. It's like, all right, well, tell me what your company values are. What do you think happened? Well, if you're thinking that the answer was, hang on a second, let me find them, and then diving for the filing cabinet, that's the sad truth. If they're not ritualized or used daily, they're unknown by your people. So they die in the binder, in the drawer, Or worse, they die on the wall. People do not learn values by osmosis, right? They learn by ritualization. Without ritualization, even a culture that has been designed with the best intentions does not deliver the meaning that it's intended to. So today I want to touch on purpose and values. There's more to this, especially in our program, but let's keep it brief. What is purpose? Well, this is a big one. Before I answer this, brand purpose has different frames of reference depending on your position. I'm guessing there's lots of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, startup founders, or the owners or leaders here. And if that's the case, then it's highly likely that your personal purpose will be very similar, if not the same as your brand's purpose. And there are different things if you're part of a team or a steering committee or an entrepreneur where you can influence it, but it's not as rooted in your heart as theirs. As a consultant, I like to think I give business leaders the permission and framework to bring their good human selves to their business model, which is a powerful vehicle to change the world for the better. And that's what I'm about. So what is brand purpose? There's a much longer version of this presentation, but this is condensed for today. It is the North Star for your brand. It needs to fit above everything as an umbrella and make sense for what you do. It is a distinguishing factor from your competitors, makes you stand out. It shouldn't fit your competitors the same way it fits you. It needs to fit you like a glove. It is central to your brand's culture and your brand story. Why is it important? Two main reasons, because staff who work merely for a paycheck aren't going to deliver a rave-worthy experience, nor are they going to stick around if there's a better offer. In other words, you get bad culture. And customers who have not got their heart and their mind attached to your brand, they won't stick around either. So it's all about culture. Think about this. Your brand purpose attracts the best talent who care more than just money, right? It ignites the creative and discretionary energy in your team. And it creates raving fans because you're delivering rave-worthy experiences. Now, our purpose is to help all brands be good for the world. That's a fairly new purpose. We repurposed less than 2 years ago. And our purpose before that, I actually liked. It was, we help good businesses become better brands, which says what we do. But I was finding that in how I was expanding a bit with what I was talking about is I wanted to introduce all because I wanted us to be a bigger scope. We help all good businesses become better brands. And then awesomely, one of my team called me on this and said, hey, how about you just run the process that you run our clients through with our team? And I'm so glad that I did, because this one, we'll never have to change this because we'll never read it. We'll never reach it, right? If we do, hey, I don't have to work anymore. But this came out of, and honestly, I said the journey is the destination before. Doing this work with your team is the most empowering thing for them. I saw a new depth of engagement with the team that I hadn't seen before. Everybody connected it and everybody invested in it. And, you know, helping all brands be good for the world, it fits what we do. It's why I'm here today. I'm sharing this stuff because it's important that we do this work. And whether it means with partnerships, programs, products, training, whatever it is, it all fits under that. Our impact as well, and Good North as well. So let's talk about values. What are your espoused values? They're the rules for your brand, rules of play, right? They contribute to the development of normal standards for your brand and how it shows up in the world, how it conducts business now and in the future. That means your espoused values become the guiding principles for your team to make day-to-day decisions, good or bad, easy or hard. When they're set up correctly, your team are empowered to act independently for the best interest with confidence for your brand, right? Which is hugely liberating for leadership teams. Speaking of leadership, values are modeled from the top down, right? What is modeled by the leaders becomes the value. So you're either confirming the work that you've done by living them, or you're contradicting them. And what that does, it causes problems because what's modeled is law. Take this, for example. What if an organization espouses a value relating to family and work-life balance? Because that's good. Yet the boss works late and expects everybody to stay as long as she does or wear her wrath. That behavior clearly contradicts the value. So it is the value that's modeled that becomes the true value. Naturally, anyone that's working there, it's going to just kind of, our values mean shit, right? They're meaningless because this is what's expected of us. So it diminishes the culture and the team disengage. So it is essential that the leadership are completely on board and invested with the work and understand they need to model it. And often there's a bit of work that's required to get the leadership to lead well. So you reflect on these, right? As your team and as yourself, your brand espoused values are your rules for play. They influence behavior and actions. They are an agreement between all levels of stakeholder, boss, employee, investors, whoever. Is clear the expectation. And they are modeled from the top down. They either support or contradict. So why are they important? Because when our personal values are aligned with work, we can be engaged. When they're not, we're disengaged. It creates problems in any relationship, in any human structure where there's misalignment with our values, whether it's family, religion, country, company, any organization. Think about these following reflections from a team's perspective. When you are engaged at work, you know the rules of play. You know what's expected of you. It's clear. So you can freely be yourself. Right? When you are freely yourself, you bring your full self to work and you can really enjoy the relationship with the organization. Now, what that does for the team is ridiculous. We've seen this. The difference between a disengaged team member and an engaged team member is massive. In a mid-level role, it's 1,200%, 12 times more productive, right? Same salary, same hours, 12 times the output. Disengage is the inverse of that, which is less than 9% of that person's potential. Right? As an employer, I know what I want. What about you? In case you're wondering, low level role, it's 3 times as productive. High level role, it's off the charts. You can't even measure it. Now, this work can be transformative. People like Tom Harrison, tan slacks on the stool in the middle kind of there, co-owner of a 3rd-generation real estate agency, had a few bad hires, were causing morale drop, making life difficult for him and the whole team. They did the work, got very clear on their cookies with us, and the 5 people that were mishires self-selected out, including his business partner. So no awkward conversations, happened very quickly, and they've now doubled in team, more than doubled. They've all aligned. The energy that comes from them when I meet with them is palpable. It's ridiculous. And they've jumped from number 9 to number 2 in their industry for their in their state, and they've opened more offices. So it's ridiculous what this work can do for transformation. Doesn't have to be a full transformation of bad either. This is a company, Tribe in Sydney. We did a workshop with them recently. They had a strong team. The highest score that I've ever seen on their values assessment. So aligned, but their culture was not articulated or ritualized. So it was on the owner to be the glue for that organization. So he couldn't leave and they couldn't open new locations. So we did the work with them and it's been a seismic shift. They've now got clearly articulated culture code there so that the team is glued on each other and they can open new venues, new destinations. So even if you think you've got it right, there's room for improvement. Like us with purpose, like these guys with values, always a good time to revisit it. So we've briefly covered culture, but of course there's a lot more to it. There's so much more to it. But let's look at its counterpart, looking at time, let's look at its counterpart, impact. That's the other half of the nucleus. And we're talking about that. We're talking about that 3rd part I mentioned here is contribution, creating an impact, doing something good, standing for something, because we expect that. There's choices more so now, which is awesome. Back then in 2015, when I had my purpose moment, it was like watching tumbleweeds roll by. Now it's a movement, and I'm so excited to see how things are progressing. The data kind of supports it. More than 8 out of 10 people believe that a company must do more than just make money. They must impact society as well. I don't know about you. I've changed my brands for this reason: bank, super fund, energy company, to alternatives, and they're difficult, right? What about if you're an easy to change product, right? And this is the reason why Patagonia beat 99 other prominent US companies in consumer rankings for ethics, citizenship, and culture, right? Most reputable brand in the US. What I like about them is their focus on their impact, the diligent and real focus on their impact, and their storytelling is awesome. It's clear what they stand for. Now, to support this thing, quote from the chairman of that poll, today's consumer is more digitally connected and more purpose-driven than ever, and that dramatically affects what it takes to excel in marketing, communication, and reputation. Now, I argue in business in general, team acquisition and retention, customer acquisition and retention. Retention is the key, right? You might have an awesome looking brand, an awesome proposition, but the reason people stay is culture and impact, right? Done well with storytelling. So impact is your noble reason to be loved. It's what we're here for, to help people communicate this effectively. Most people suck at storytelling, I'll tell you, right? That's what we're here for. So what is impact, right? What is impact? And I'm going to be preaching to the choir here, but I want to make sure we're on the same page. Succinctly put, it's the way your business does good in the world, or better, how you intentionally bring your purpose to life. It's a fusion of purpose and business model to create positive impact. And there are two main ways to do it. First one, by giving or profit, where funds are generated by organization, distributed through impact partners. That means we don't have to focus on reinventing a wheel. We can work with established organizations that have their reach and have the processes and infrastructure to reach those that we want, right? The other one is by process. So that's where impact is created directly through the day-to-day operations of the organization. It could be through the delivery of the product or the work itself, hiring, employment of at-risk group, the product or services being something of better quality, better materials, or many other things, but it's through existing, through delivering what it is that you do. And of course, there are more, and it could be a fusion of the two. Now, let's look at, I usually go through these examples because it's foreign to people, but you get this. Here are some of the impact brands that I love. And there's nothing unique about what these brands produce, right? Shoes, brownies, jeans, nappies or hand soap, cleaning products, clothing, toilet paper, right? Dumb products, basically. So people aren't buying these things for quality. Maybe you are for Patagonia or arguably you are, but it is the storytelling that makes the difference. You buy these products, I buy these products because of how and why they do it, who they make me become by supporting them, right? And that is storytelling. So this is why I say culture and impact are the how and why of your brand, and that's fused as a nucleus, and the storytelling is what makes that difference, right? So it's why we say good design is table stakes today, right? It's the price you pay, and it is meaning that's magnetic for your team, for your prospective team, and your market. When you tell your story well, you're embracing your audiences as co-creators in your impact. You're giving them the opportunity to contribute to a greater world by supporting your brand. But it's not just any impact. And we learned the hard way. After my purpose moment, I didn't know what we were doing. Early days, like we did what all good humans do. We donated. Don't get me wrong, donations are good. They're needed. But like so many of our clients and people we speak to, we spread ourselves very thin. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. Take our money. You know, like we're doing good. But it was impossible for our team to follow what we're doing. Our clients basically were saying too much. So we weren't saying anything. Have you seen this with brands? We committed to sponsoring orphans as a company, and we still do. We've got 4. They're young adults. We've actually replaced one that's moved on and I think got married. While this is admirable, it doesn't have anything to do with what we do. So there's no clear, authentic connection to our business, right, for our team or our market. And with cause washing being something that brands are getting slammed for, and they continue to, we're in marketing. I'm very conscious of perceptions. So even more so as a vocal advocate of positive impact, we had to evolve ours. So we had to get clear on it. The first thing we did was created a list of successful businesses with positive impact. And they come from all those interviews that we were doing, all the people I was meeting. And we categorized them. So we built our database. From there, our team explored and discussed models that made the most sense for us and would be authentic for our business, that would make clear, relevant sense for it. And that became the first step in our impact framework, where we determine where we identify the impact model that's right for your business. Your noble reason to be loved has to be simple, has to be relevant. The next thing we did was put some definition around it for our team, for our market, so that we could communicate it clearly, so that everybody knew what was expected of them and how they were contributing. We created mechanisms so that was bolted into our business so that every team member felt invested as co-creators. That became the second step in our framework, communicate, where we set your impact framework for internal and external communication, because it's all about how you tell the story to team and the market. And then a penny dropped for me about impact. It's something I learned from Donald Miller's book, Story Brand. Now, he's not into impact, so it was nothing like that. But it was that for everyone, you are the hero in your own journey. You in yours, your customer, your prospect in theirs. And there can only be one hero in any story. So if you try and claim hero status in your prospect's journey, you'll be subconsciously pushed away by them because there can only be one. Right? That's true in marketing. And honestly, I was pushing up against that for years, doing it wrong. When I learned that, I was like, oh shit, it made me feel sick. Right? The same is true in marketing. The same is true in sharing news of creating a great impact, right? Even if it's positive. Claiming hero status can actually cause harm to your brand. Comes off as bragging, right? There's a better way to do it that makes everybody feel good, which is celebrating your team and your community as co-creators of the good that you do, which became the third step of our framework, Celebrate, which is all about embracing your community and your team as co-creators in the impact. Think about it like one candle lighting another, right? The first candle loses nothing, it just creates more light, or maybe it does lose something chemically, but nothing drastic, right? So when we follow this framework for our team, it led to a greater passion arise in our team. Something that I, as the holder of the vision, holder of impact, I'd never seen this kind of commitment and energy before. It rivaled my own, which is ridiculous. Now we experienced that, but I experienced it with our customers too. So what we saw is this work, getting clear on culture and impact with our clients, gave them clarity in what they stood for, enabling them to align as a team and really bring their full self to work. Right, that's that part of unleashing genius at work that we're passionate about. One of our values, genius at play, is enabling that to happen. That happens from creating an environment where people can and are inspired and motivated to do that. And what that does is unleash the productivity that we're talking about, that 12 times thing. That comes because there's a drive there, motivation, and the energy is ridiculous. Need another case for telling an awesome impact story? Have you noticed that when you do something good, you get a rush of good feelings, right? That is because our bodies are flooded with endorphins as a nature's gift for acts of kindness. This phenomenon is called helper's high. And a study tells us that people that do it consistently are 42% happier. So the key here is consistency and repetition. Now, if you're doing something good in business, what you need to do is build that framework so that you're continuously telling that story with your team of improvement, increasing it so that they get that flush of endorphins, 4 minutes every other week or every week. You can't do it daily, but imagine embedding this kind of positive impact story into your process, into your day-to-day, so that your team are 42% happier at work, right? Part of this is we see the biggest obstacle for people communicating impact is keeping it simple. Often we're too deep in what we do to be able to see it from our audience perspective. And you have to make sure that it's easy, not just for you to pass on, but for them to pass on. They need to, story isn't about what you tell, it's about how it's retold, right? So it has to be simple. Same with impact. And there's a case in point here. One of our recent grant recipients, so we have our Double the Goodness grant, which is dollar matching up to 10 grand for impact businesses. And we helped a social enterprise. I'm not going to name her. I'm going to call her Sammy for the purpose of this story. She came to us with the typical deck overflowing with a ton of good stuff, but there was way too much stuff. My motto is when you say and, you lose impact, you lose people. So it's unclear in her material exactly the problem that she wanted to solve because there's too many ands. And there was no clear connection of why either, right? And it was no wonder she was struggling to get traction. So we did the work. We took her through the process, deep dive with her to determine what was most important for them as a business. We workshopped ideas, explored them with her, and guided the conversations with its clients and market, and got very clear on what it is. We helped her simplify her impact to one single thing that made sense for the business, a relevant model for the business, made sense for the service and for the market. And we helped her create a purpose statement that sat above it, so it bridged what she did and the impact. It was beautiful, and the values to enable her team to act on it. All these are now front and center for her brand in the communication, the direction for the business, and she's thriving. People are loving it. They get it, right? Clarity and co-creation make storytelling easier. So here is like why you need to get clear on the how and why of your brand. Make storytelling easy, and it really does ripple out. So what does impact, what's getting it look like, getting it right look like? First thing is it needs to solve a real problem and create a better world, right? It needs to be measurable, tangible for everyone to see. Ideally, a unit of impact that makes sense and can be incremented relatively quickly. So you've got some momentum there. And it gives your team and your customers a way to align, to contribute, something to share and rave about. They have to want to rave about it. So you can see now how culture and impact are important, and storytelling ripples outwards from that. I do want to spend a quick minute on storytelling, because this is an area that people get very wrong. And it's driven by this main point, this next bit, and that's knowing your audiences. I like this quote because it really embodies what we do with audience work, with storytelling. When you can articulate a person's problem better than they can using the language that they use, they automatically attribute you to having the solution. And that's regardless of whether you do. The key here is the language they use. The outcome that we want is that your dream clients, right, your investors, stakeholders, whatever the audience is, are hanging on your every word, completely and utterly engaged and itching to take the desired action that you have for them, right? Now, most people know this, that it's important to have a customer avatar or a profile or a persona. And there are a plethora of templates available on the web, all pretty simple, pretty similar questions to explore them. So we download one, we'll sit at a boardroom and we'll answer the demographic questions as a team, each describe the ideal person, pulling together all our thoughts and ideas. Maybe we'll even give them a name, give them a photo, possibly even a life-size cardboard cutout, so that we can market to them. Now, we had a client do this, but their marketing wasn't working. So we explored it with them. And it was because they'd created a Frankenstein, actually 2 Frankensteins. And that's a fictional mashup of ideas. And the problem is that person doesn't actually exist, nor do they have a buying record with this organization. So aiming your marketing at a Frankenstein is aiming at no real person. So it's never going to work, right? So when we took them through our audience mastery program, we identified 2 vastly different, almost diametrically opposed profiles that consume multiple products of theirs every day. One of them was consuming 7 servings of their different products in a day. Now, what do you want? A proven buyer that loves your stuff and consumes it daily, or a fictional character that you want to buy that doesn't actually exist? So that's audience done right. And it's so important to do. Now, we're getting close. I would love more time. Honestly, there's so much we could do with this. This can feel a bit like this, and it's impossible to show you everything. If you're thinking, look, I'd love to find out more about electromagnetic branding, maybe get help to do it. Actually, I've got a package for those of you that want to, and I've got an awesome deal with it. If it's okay, can I spend the next few minutes going through it? Yeah? All right, cool, because I want to help you become an electromagnetic brand. That's what we're here for. So this is the prize, and there's a bit of an architecture to get there, right? So what we have is a program. It is an 8-week electromagnetic brand live masterclass. So it's our signature one-on-one method. So you saw the photo of doing it with clients. We do this stuff in person and people pay us a fortune for it, which is awesome, but we want to help more people. So this is the same methodology delivered online, guides you through leveling up your brand culture, elevating impact, articulating your authentic brand story. Right. So the first part of it is the live masterclass hosted by me, right? 8 weeks, yes, with me. So if you enjoy my company, then more of that, right? Delivered online. Basically, we start the week with a live session. It's about an hour. I'll give you everything you need to know and the tools to complete it that week. So the outcome is we want to get your culture framework right. You'll have a refreshed, realigned, reinvigorated culture code that you and your team love. So you'll be able to attract and retain more of the aligned team members you want and guide the action. So you get a brand personality guide, you'll develop it. So every message you contribute, you share is on point. Espoused values with clear context, all your cookies defined there, nothing but aligned superstars, brand purpose statement. So you become a crusade to join, not a commodity, right? The impact framework and tools. So get very clear on your impact model so you can share it beautifully and simply so that everyone has a noble reason to love you. Become a driving force for you, for your team and your clients. So you will produce a simple and relevant impact model for your business that makes sense for your team and your market. It could be about refining one. All of this gives that little bit more, or transformational. Your communication framework so you can effectively communicate with all your audiences, and timeline and milestones so your team know what you're aiming for. And the last part of it is the storytelling framework so that you can articulate your core story and your key messaging to resonate with your highest value audiences. The other important part is developing your culture rituals and a content strategy to breathe life in your brand. So the outcomes of this is developing your buyer journey and core story so that your main story aligns with your highest value audience. No Frankensteins. Key messaging so your team convey the right message always. Culture rituals so you can breathe life into your culture, ensuring a fit. And content strategy so that the market experiences you at its best, your brand at its best always. So what this looks like is the 8-week live masterclass, right? 8 weeks with me, get all of that done, our current IP. Next thing, we've added we created a private community of like-minded businesses who are on the same journey as you. You're a line mastermind. You do the training together, inspire each other, keep each other accountable. This goes for 12 weeks, going a month beyond the 8 weeks, because we know life gets in the way and you need some more time to do things. So me and my team monitor the group, answer all your technical questions because we want you to have success, right? So adding that to the list, mastermind community. Now, what Tom had to say about it, he'd never experienced great culture before, right? He thought bad hires were across the business like we did, and he followed the process. So the same process that you go through in this. Now he only has aligned staff and they've doubled. The other thing that I want for you and I'm giving you is we're hosting a live barrier busting session every week on Friday that you bring your questions to. I want to make sure you get the work done and that you don't have any blocks, right? Anything that comes up gets busted quickly and you keep momentum. And this is for 12 weeks too, because of life gets in the way, right? 4 weeks extra. You can bring a question from week 1 to week 12 barrier busting sessions. No format here, just bring what you need and we solve it. So what this looks like as a journey is culture, 2 weeks, the training, then the barrier busting session, and each week, impact, 2 weeks, bang, bang, and then storytelling, right? So you can see you've got that full extra month to bring whatever questions you want to me. Now, I've been doing this for a while, purpose-driven since 2015, but branding and marketing since 1999. So you're getting my seasoned experience with this. Hopefully I can help you. So that's what it looks like. Barrier busting sessions ticking up there. Fee's on the call here. Fee says that this program has been absolutely amazing, right? It's been transformative for her business. So, and she loves it so much that she's become a purpose ambassador for Sponge outside of organizing this business to run with time for her to do other things. So the other thing we give you is all the program resources. So there's tools, all different kinds of tools for you and your team to work on so that you get all the answers that you need to drive these pieces of work forward. The other thing you might be wondering, is this framework for you? It works for professional services, manufacturing, FMCG, health and fitness, food service, retail, construction, e-commerce, fully remote businesses, social enterprises, if you don't fit into those brackets, charities and not-for-profits, any time of business, really, unless you're AI and you're selling to AI. But I can see most of your faces, so that's unrealistic. The other thing you get is a +1 team access. That's so your right hand or anyone from your team, if it's marketing, can join you in any of the live masterclass sessions or barrier busting sessions, whether or not you're attending. So we want you to get the results. Now, that's what we usually have as a package, but I've been thinking about this more, and that piece I was talking about of audience and storytelling, it is so vital. Like, you do the work with us on your culture and impact, and your team will be connected and you'll get what drives them. That's valuable for the internal storytelling. But externally, if you don't do it the right way, you're going to miss on that. And we don't want you to miss on that. So what we're giving you additionally is our audience mastery program. So we created it because the secret to effective storytelling is knowing your audience. All right? That's valued at $1,297. Just quickly, if all this did was stop you from making bad hires, would it be worth it? If all it did was 12x your team's productivity, would it be worth it? What about if it enabled you to attract and retain more of your dream buyers? Would it be worth it? We do have people pay us a fortune for this. If maybe you don't think that's a fortune, I like it. You can see it's great value at less than that, at 33, but I want to give you a deal. We usually charge $12,997, right? Because you're special and you're here today, you can do it for $5,997, or we have 5 of these because our Double the Goodness grant, where we'll dollar match it for half price. So it's $2,994, right? Now, we want to make sure people are the right fit. If you are interested in it, go to thesponge.com.au/go to answer a few questions, and we'll have a quick little follow-up call to see if you are, in fact, a good fit for the mastermind, because we only want legends in the mastermind. So that's what we have on offer today. There is a minute left, so if anyone has a question, you can ask. Yeah, I'm passionate about this stuff. We do go above and beyond to make sure that you do get all this stuff right. I do not want to sell this program to anyone that does not get the full outcome that we promise. So thank you for spending time with me today. If you're interested, jump on that link and get into it.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. That's amazing, Luke. Wow, what a fabulous session. So much information and so much value. I just know members are just going to go crazy about that. And such an amazing offer. And thank you so much for considering social enterprises within this incredible offer. I really, really appreciate it. And we're sending our member newsletter out, so I'm sure this will make it in there as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Luke. I know we're right bang on time. Once again, thanks to Luke Faccini from The Sponge for such great information. Really appreciate the offer. It's fantastic value. I hope members get a lot of value out of that. Wonderful. I'm going to stop the recording.
Awesome. Thank you.